Welcome to a rather windy Wales. Now, I'm not talking about a farty mammal fish, I'm talking about the country next to England. It's just as damp though. Anyhow, I'm here to compare the new Land Rover Defender with this rather different old Defender. You see, in some ways, this is more modern than that, because while that is powered by fossil fuels, old internal combustion engine diesel, this is powered by a Tesla electric motor. It's nuts. Now, I'm going to compare these cars in 4 different off-road challenges. I'm also going to compare their designs, their interiors, their practicality, and just what they're like to drive on the road as an everyday driver. And of course, I'm going to compare their performance by launching them from 0 to 60 miles an hour. I'm Matt Watson, and you're watching Carwow, and hopefully I'm not going to perish out here.
Buying a new car? Then head to Carwow, and my team will help you find your next car at a fair price. Carwow, your one-stop car buying comparison site.
Let's start off this video by talking about the engines. So this new Defender has a 3-litre straight-six turbo diesel with 250 horsepower and 570 newton meters of torque. Drives all 4 wheels via an 8-speed automatic gearbox with a low range mode. It also has a centre and a rear electronically controlled locking diff. In terms of the weight, just over 2.2 tonnes. Meanwhile, this old Defender uses the motor and inverter from a Tesla Model S 100D. It puts out 450 horsepower and 450 newton meters of torque. It's actually mounted in the middle of the vehicle, and it's connected to a limited slip differential, which then sends power forwards via a prop shaft and power backwards via a prop shaft. And across each axle, you have another torque sensing limited slip differential. So 3 diffs in total. This here is part of the battery pack. Here you've got a 60 kilowatt hour battery pack, whereas there's a 40 kilowatt hour battery pack at the back. So in total, 100 kilowatt hours of battery. Now this vehicle only has a single speed and there's no low range mode. In terms of the weight, comes in at 2.6 tonnes. Now we're going to compare these 2 very different Defenders off-road. We're going to drive them through 4 different obstacles. I'm going to drive this new Defender 90 through 2 of the obstacles. I'm going to switch into the electric old Defender for the last 2 obstacles. And we've got an off-road expert, John, is going to give us his verdict as we pass through each obstacle. The first one is we're going to drive over a slope, test the car's chassis articulation and their ground clearance. Now it's dead easy for me to set this thing up. So what I do is put it into low range mode for the gearbox. That raises up the air suspension, and then I'm going to put the terrain select into rock crawl program, and essentially the car will take control of everything. I just operate the brakes, the steering and the accelerator, but it'll use all its traction and everything to hopefully get me through this obstacle. But will it do it better than the electric Defender? Let's do it. Here we go. It's quite interesting what it's like driving along in low range mode. The engine going, yeah, look at it, it's like 3,000 RPM. It's quite noisy. Oh, look at this. Now, that old Defender, rigid axles. This, fully independent suspension. That looks impressive though, it's doing a good job. What will this do? I reckon this is going to be easy for this. That was easy for that. I've got the ground clearance. I've got the electronics. I've got the comfort. Well, apart from the whirring sound from the diesel engine up front. All very simple and quite comfy. Love a bit of air suspension. Let's see what John thought. Right, John, that was a breeze for both of these Defenders, but which one had the most ground clearance? Which one looked like it did it the easiest?
Well, I think on that one, those big wheels and tyres helped it. That gives it that ground clearance. I'm really impressed with this one though, because you've got that air suspension. That surprised me because I saw it really low. It's now really high and it looks as though it came over really, really easy. But that's even on both these cars. They both took it easily in their stride.
That was too easy. Let's move on to the next challenge. I think it's kind of level pegging for that, yeah?
Yes.
Before we continue with the off-roading, let's talk about the price. So this vehicle here has been converted by a company called Electric Classic Cars, and I'll put a link to their Instagram account in the description where you can check out all the different builds they do. Really, really cool, run by a chap called Richard Morgan. So this vehicle, to convert it to the Tesla power, cost 90 grand, and you can just supply your base vehicle, such as a Land Rover, and then they'll do the work for that amount of money. This one here, because it's actually a replica of the Spectre Land Rover Defender from the James Bond film Spectre, costs a bit more because of the conversion, or the extra bits on it, the mad tyres, the interior upgrades. Comes in total, including the conversion, to £150,000. Meanwhile, this new Defender actually starts from half the price of the conversion of that one to electric power, so £45,000 starting price. This one is the D250, so it starts from just under £50,000, and this one actually that I've got here with all the options on it is closer to £62,000. Now, if you want to see how much money you can save on a new car, click on the pop-out banner up there to go to Carwow. Alternatively, if you're not looking to buy a new car, but you are selling your old car, go to carwow as well, because you can input the details of your new car, upload a photo, and then you'll get great offers back on your car to our trusted dealers who will buy your car from you and give you a good price for it. Now, if you want to do that later after this video, just simply Google "Help Me Carwow" and you can check out how to do that through our website. Now, before we go to our next challenge, there's a little bit of a water splash here. This new Defender has a wading depth of 900 millimeters, which is really good. And you're probably wondering about that electric Defender. What happens if you get it wet? Is it all gonna like end up and you're getting a nasty electrical shock? Remember, 400 volts. No, it's all electrically sealed, all the batteries, all the motors and all that kind of stuff from Tesla. The actual limiting factor is the old Defender's electrics, you know? You can probably wade quite deep, but if you sit in water for too long, water will get in and then you won't have any kind of like infotainment system or lights or stuff like that. But the actual Tesla stuff, sealed, waterproof, you could pretty much drive it underwater if you wanted to. Now we're going to the second challenge, which is going up a steep and rocky, slippery slope. So this is going to test the vehicle's traction. Now in this we've got the whole kind of engine, it's reciprocating, so you need a torque converter to mate it to the gearbox and then to the wheels, and you've got an ECU that's controlling the amount of throttle so that you don't start spinning at the wheels, and brakes which will engage to stop the wheels spinning. And there's a lot going on with this, plus the locking discs which lock and unlock depending on what the car's computer thinks we should be doing. But I mean, this is fairly good the way it's just working its way up. A bit jolty at times, as you can feel it get a bit of grip then lose a bit of grip, but it's doing a decent job. I'm keeping with him quite easily. Now, one thing I really like about this modern Defender is the camera system, so I can see where I'm putting my wheels. We're going to work our way up these rocks. I can actually do a thing where I can look underneath the bonnet. It's called clear sight, so I can really see where I'm pointing my wheels. Don't want to hit the big rock, I want to go up the slightly smaller rock. I can see that there, that's really handy. Then drive this thing up over this bigger rock now. Here we go. Oh, come on. Oh, I'm struggling for traction. Got it, got it. Oh, you could feel it. Braking, accelerating, controlling the power. You know, there's so much going on. Whereas that electric Defender, it's just no gearbox, no nothing, just motor, throttle, does the job. Anyway, let's see what John thinks. How's that for you then, John?
Well, I'll be honest, I think that one just nicked it. You had a little bit of judder just climbing up that last little rock, all the trickery work in there. That looked as though it did it a little bit easier. Yeah, it seems smoother in that. Well, there you go. I think that's definitely a point scored to the EV. Before we continue with the off-roading, let's compare the two cars' designs. Now, I think Land Rover's design team have done a fabulous job with this new car's looks, especially in this three-door body style, the 90. I love it with the steel wheels. It looks classic, it looks retro, yet it also looks very, very modern. I like it a lot. However, let's be honest, this does look a lot more badass and less skull run, doesn't it? The Spectre upgrades help, like the flared wheel arches, the roll cage, the roof rack, those big knobbly tyres. Anyway, let's put it to you. Which do you think looks the best, the new Land Rover Defender or the old Land Rover Defender? Put a pinned comment below where you can vote. Let me know your thoughts. I've now jumped into the Spectre Defender, so I'm going electric, and it's quite easy to set up, even easier than the new Defender, because I just put it into drive. That's it. Accelerate a little bit, release the electronic parking brake, and off we go. Let's drive. Now for this challenge, we're going to go over some slippery rocks and check out both traction and articulation. This has a traction control system, but it's nowhere near as busy as the one in the new Defender, because you can basically just control everything just with your right foot. There's no engine whirring away. It's all directly linked to how much I press the accelerator. It's really quite easy and natural feeling. It really is. Let's just go this bank for fun, because I can. Oh, that's noticeable. The steering is heavier than in the new Defender. You've got hydraulic power steering. The pump is actually electric driven for the hydraulic system, but you still got hydraulics rather than an electric power steering system. So you do get more feedback and knocking as the wheel hits rocks and stuff like that. Another thing I'm noticing is creaking and stuff, because there's no engine going like there was in the diesel Defender. How was that, John? That one had three wheels. That front right was off the ground. This hunkered down, all four wheels driving. Again, it had a little bit of slippage on this one as it went up.
So this one did a good job there. I mean, we've got three differentials, one at the front, one in the middle, and one at the back, right? That's got one in the middle, one at the back. They're electronically controlled, but this just seems to just walk its way up, and it's so easy to control just on the throttle pedal like that. Impressive. Both impressive, really, but this is a little bit more serene. Here on the inside, this old Defender has been upgraded with these lovely sporty seats. You've got quilted leather about the place. You've also got an infotainment system there with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Then there's the electric car conversion bits. So on the normal Defender, you would have your gear lever there, and you'd have like your lever for low or high range down there, but because there's only one gear, there's none of that. So you've got space for your mobile phone up there. And then there's this dial here where you can select drive, reverse or neutral, and your gauges, you've got your amps there, you have your motor temperature, the amount of remaining charge in the battery, and your speedometer there. A bit different. The inside of this new Defender is just much nicer though. The design is super cool, quality is good, there's lots more space. The only thing is the knobby knob, which is a little bit phallic sticking out there like that. Got a integrated infotainment system there, digital driver's display. This is not the best in the business, but it's better than the aftermarket system in that old Defender. And check this out, I love this feature. We've got a folding fabric sunroof. Look. It's lovely. Lovely! Lovely that is! Ah! Let's get on with the off-roading. This final challenge is about the car getting you down a slope as easy as possible. And I think I might struggle a little bit with this because you do have regenerative braking, but you don't have hill descent control like you do in the new Defender. That can actually use its brakes, it nibbles at its brakes automatically, and it can have you going at a walking pace, about 2 miles an hour down the slope. It's insane, the system is. You can control it, the speed, using the button on the steering wheel for the cruise control. Whereas this, I've just got regen, and it's just normal regen. So let's see what happens. I'm gonna just go down the slope and lift off. Don't die. Oh, so I'm regaining lost energy, but it went pretty quickly down there. Oh God. So I've got some energy back into the battery there, but I can just see the other Land Rover, the new one, just going down the slope now at a snail's pace. Yeah, that system's good. It's just nibbling at the brakes, taking it slowly. You don't have to do anything. That's a definite win for the new Defender. They've got a lot of electrical technology on that car, making it as good as it can be off-road. Anyway, let's find out what John thought. John? So, come on.
Yep, that's a clear win for the modern Land Rover in hill descent mode.
Definitely.
This doesn't have it, it's got the regen, but it's not strong enough yet for that. That's what we're developing to have that off-road mode.
Okay, so actually I've driven another EV Defender from these guys, and it does have this off-road mode with improved regen for when you're off-roading, and it works like a hill descent control. If you want to see that working, click on the pop-out banner up there to go check out the video. Here in the back of the old Defender, it's actually okay-ish for knee room, and it's wide enough to fit 3 people across here. Headroom's good as well, but the seat backs are quite upright, so it's not the comfiest for long journeys. And if you want to look out the window, you have to sort of like kind of do that. Now I can see out. I know I can't because it's horribly rainy because miserable weather here in Wales. It always is. Being a pickup, the boot capacity on this old Defender is pretty good. Plenty of load space there, though the electric conversion does eat into space, so these batteries actually take up about 1/3 of the volume of the low bed. As you can see, the boot capacity on the new Defender is nowhere near as good, but that's because this is the 90 version. If you get the 110, there's loads of boot space then. Also, being the 3-door version means it's a bit of a faff to get into the back because there's no rear doors. However, once you're in, it does feel more comfortable than that old 110 version of the Defender because knee room's a little bit more, headroom's about the same, but the seats are just comfier, they're a bit more reclined, and I can look out the back window without having to contort my body. I would much rather go distance in the back of this than that. However, how do they compare in terms of performance? Let's launch them. Let's see what this 3-litre 6-cylinder diesel will do 0 to 60. Specialist timing gear up here. I'm just going to launch it. 3, 2, 1, bit of brake boost. Oh, there's loads of stuff in here just rattling around. It took off all right, but then it kind of lacks power once again. But still, 0 to 60, 7.52 seconds. That's all right. Doesn't half growl though when you're doing it. Diesel going. To drive though, I can't fault this. It's so comfy. Just put the gearbox in normal drive and it'll quieten the engine down. Oh yeah, air suspension, brilliant on the road. It's quiet as well, the insulation's good. You know, utilitarian car, the Defender? Oh no, it is actually a luxury SUV. So easy, such a nice place to be. Yes, it can go off-road. Yes, it's very capable, but it's also just a lovely thing to drive and to own. Round corners? Well, you've got independent suspension. So it's way better than the old Defender. Excuse the stuff rolling around. Like I can go around this roundabout pretty quickly. Look at that. Yes, there's body lean, but that's because it's softly sprung. But the steering's accurate, the grip's good, it's controllable, it's decent enough. Visibility is brilliant, loads of room in the cabin, lots of soft touch materials to rest your elbows off, great for long journeys. I really, really do like it. And all the people who are going, oh, well, you know, it's not true to what it should be like. Do you know what? This has much broader appeal than the old Defender. It really does. It can do it all. Okay, now I'm going to launch Spectre. Once again, specialist timing gear. I'm just going to jump on the throttle, see what happens. Here we go. That's so much quicker. Whoa! 5.35 seconds to 60 miles an hour. Wow, that's like 2 seconds quicker, and the throttle response sounds like a spaceship would accelerate. Now, the rest of the driving experience. Okay, here's the roundabout that I just went round in the new Defender. This isn't too bad. Not leaning as much as I thought it would. The steering is nowhere near as nice though, it's like heavy and but this is nothing to do with it being electric, it's all to do with it being an old Defender. Whoa! Whoa! You have to watch that when you put your foot down. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. There's a lot of discussion about the noise electric cars make, and I quite like this whining sound when you accelerate. It makes you feel like you're in a spacecraft. It's cool. But when you're just cruising along, that, if you're just like going up and down the motorway, that'll get right on your nerves. In fact, so too does an old Defender. Look, I've got nowhere to put my arm. Everything's hard and sharp, and you end up banging your bones off it. It just really hurts. And obviously the ride from these knobbly tyres are all blah, 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 blah. The new Defender is way, way, way easier, nicer to travel in. It absolutely is. And to be fair on it, you're going to be able to get it with a 5-litre supercharged V8, so it'll be as fast as this. The only thing is though, I really wish that Land Rover was also putting an electric powertrain in it, because that would be super cool. The new Defender with electric power. I don't know why they don't do it, because obviously within Jaguar Land Rover you've got the iPace, so they've got the technology. Do you reckon they should do it? Let me know in the comments below. So then what's my final verdict? Well, I'm really impressed with this car's performance. Straight line performance is immense. I'm also really surprised just how good electric power is for driving off-road. However, I also love this car off-road. I think it's brilliant, and on-road it's just super comfy and relaxing. So do you know what my ideal scenario is? It's this powertrain in that car. So come on, Land Rover, pull your finger out, get it done. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Let me know some other videos you'd like me to do in the comments below. I will check those out. Click on those windows there to watch some more videos, and if you click on that box there, you can go to Carwow to see how much money you can get for your old car through our trusted dealers.